me in praying the prayer of dedication of our offering. Creator, take all that we have given and all that we have, and make it multiply as you have done so many times before. Multiply it to feed the hungry, clothe those who are without clothes, quench the never-ending thirst of those seeking justice. Multiply it that it moves us from mine and yours to humbly ours. Amen.
We're going to hear that same scripture reading that we heard at the beginning from Acts chapter 1. But I know it says on the screen, revised. We're going to just kind of call it Pastor Ed's paraphrase. So that's what we're going to call this one before we move into kind of that next circle of relationship and witness. So when the disciples had come together, they asked Jesus, Lord, is this the time when you will restore the kingdom to Israel? And Jesus replied, it's not for you to know the times or the periods that the Father has set by his own authority. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. And you will share my story in Fort Thomas, in Newport, and Covington, and Wilder, and Cold Spring, and Alexandria, and throughout northern Kentucky, and Cincinnati, and into the whole tri-state region, throughout this country, down to Belize, over to Ukraine, across to Kenya, to the very ends of the earth. So as I said, we're going to move the circle out a little bit now, moving beyond just where we were with the local work, but we're going to move to a little village in Belize called San Victor. And we're going to have several folks share. First, Howard Storm will share some reflections about some of the people that he has met multiple times, that he has been down to Belize. And then we're going to sing together. We're going to sing number 402 in the hymnal. And I just want to note one thing about that song. We'll be singing out of the hymnal rather than on the screen. The first verse will be sung in Spanish, and then we will be singing the two English verses following that. And then Ken and Tammy Weidinger will be getting up to share more about the project in Belize that we've been a part of over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So I do want to first start, though, with Howard as he shares about some of the people that he has met and experienced. So Howard, if you want to use one of the mics there.
This mic has been blessed by a wonderful duo. Thank you so much for that. I want to tell you a love story, and I got 5 minutes to do it, so it's going to be short and sweet. And I asked Ed to keep me on track because I got 5 hours of stuff to tell you and 5 minutes to do it in. In 1985, I had an encounter with Jesus Christ, and the ultimate point was to love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And I've been trying to do that since 1985. It would have been a whole lot easier if he had told me to become a classical violinist, because love is the hardest thing in the world. Love makes you vulnerable. Love involves risk. Love is a roller coaster. And I've had many successes and I've had many failures. Love is dangerous. I never believed much in foreign mission, personally. I was very, very involved because of this church with Washington Church, and then ultimately when I went into the ministry, I was very involved with mission work in Cincinnati, and particularly in Norwood. And a clergy person, Tom Eisentraut, talked about taking mission trips to Central America. And after listening to him for 10 years, I thought, I want to see what it's all about. And we went to Belize, Central America, which is just south of Mexico, just east of Guatemala, and just north of Honduras. And we didn't know it until we got to the village, but our task was to dig the foundation for the school. We met very few of the people of the village. except the children, when they would be at recess, lunchtime, and after school, would just bombard us with affection and love. And the little kids wanted to help us dig the foundation, which was incredibly hard work. And the temperatures in the hundreds, no kidding, with 100% humidity. And it was a horrible experience. And we all agreed, the group of us that went down there, that we would never do anything like this again. And something happened. I fell in love, and I'm going to explain that. But before I get to, that's the conclusion of my story of how I really fell in love with these people. They're Maya Indians, Maya, and some of them are part Maya, part Spanish. They're the Mestizo, Maya Mestizo village, about 900 people, incredibly poor. You don't know what poverty is until you've been to the underdeveloped world and gone off the beaten track. I meet so many people when I mention Belize, they go, oh yeah, Belize, I went on a vacation there. Yeah, it was wonderful. We went surfing and scuba diving and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, that's a nice tourist park, but there's a whole other side to it, back in the backcountry where tourists never, ever go. That's my family, my familia. I love these people, and you know what? And they love me. And I mean it. I'm not talking about superficial love. I'm not talking about touchy-feely love. I'm talking the guy with the hat over here on the left. That's my brother that I never knew until I went to Belize in 2001. I just want to mention one other person. Up behind him with the blue shirt is his mother, Agustina. 17 children, 17 surviving children. In the old days in Belize, women were pregnant from the age of around 14 or 15 on until they died in their 40s. That's when people died in the village, in their 40s. Almost no one in the village had ever seen a doctor in their life. Agustina raised 17 children. Amanda was one of them. Can we get the next image? Oh. Family of 4, that's their beautiful home. What do you want to do about it? You want to go, oh, isn't that pathetic? And then go on with your life and stuff your face with donuts and see if you can afford to buy a Lexus and like, where's your next vacation going to be? My heart couldn't take it. I fell in love with these people. In the back there, he's trying to build a new home for his family. See the sticks on the back left of the picture? See the little pile of lumber? 2 years it took him to accumulate enough money to the average income in the family. Family income, $20 a week. And do not say to me, oh, life is much cheaper down there. No, actually in Belize, life is much more expensive than it is here. 88% duty tax on everything that comes into the country. So unless it's raised in Belize, it costs basically twice as much as it does here. Next slide. One man that I love, Ken had the privilege of meeting him. I call him Mayor Cobb, out of respect. He was the mayor of the village for many years. He and I have something in common that we share. We both have diabetes. He's never had meds. I could give him some meds, but I can't supply him with meds for his life. He's had to have his legs amputated, which is what happens with untreated diabetes. I would be like that without my meds. I take a lot of meds every day for my diabetes. And by the way, I'm really healthy, thank God to the doctors and the meds. He is a really fine man, and I love that man. And thank God he's got a son who takes care of him. And he lives in a traditional Mayan house, thatched roof, stick walls. But he's okay and he's a happy man. I just want to tell you one good thing about him. This community center that we're building, one day when I was thinking, I can't wait when we get this center done to take Mayor Oba, because he's much loved in the village and he's so proud of the village. I want to take him up to show him the mayor's office that we're building. That, thanks be to God, David Jose is going to supply some really nice furniture. We're going to have a beautiful mayor's office in that village. David's been an angel in this whole thing. And I realized, it's on the second floor. How am I going to get him up to the second floor? I called up the people that are building the building, and I said, you haven't started the staircase yet, have you? And they said, no, we want to start it tomorrow. I said, stop! Stop! We got, on one side of the building, we got a staircase, and on the other side where there's supposed to be a staircase, we put in a ramp. And now I can take Mayor Cobb up and see the new office. And I know that I promise you, he'll cry, I'll cry, everybody will cry, and we will have a cry fest of joy together. Next slide, please. I blame everything on that girl. Her name's Lydia Kau, K-A-U, Kau. Nice Mayan name. When we were digging, sweating profusely and filthy dirty in January 2001, when I first moved there, she befriended me. Is she not gorgeous? Come on. Yes? Is she gorgeous? I mean, to me, she's like raging beauty. Not traditional Western European beauty, Maya beauty. When we were leaving, everybody got in the van, and I didn't. And Lydia and her contemporary, Amina, were holding my hands very tightly, and they were crying heavily. And I said, Lydia and Amina, what are you crying about? And they said, because we know we will never see you again. And I said, no, I'm going to come back to this village. And like when I said that, it's like, how can you take a promise to a child back? I mean, my whole heart was like, I'm never coming back to this stinking village as long as I live. And I just promised these little girls I'm going to. I talk about conflicted, you know, it's like, and when I came back, I was pastor at Zion Church in Norwood at that time. I thought, I promised Lydia, and there's so much I could do in that village if I got some people and got some support. And I worked on that, and in a few months, well, I don't know, 8 months later, we were back with a team. I've taken 29 mission trips there, well more than 1,000 people. Not hundreds, but actually thousands of people have contributed to make this possible. I don't mean this like in false humility. I haven't done anything. You know, I always talk about, I did this, I did that, I did that. It's God's done all this. God's inspired people to support this financially, support this people with their presence. God supported Ken and Tammy to go down there with me, and they're still supporting. God has supported Pastor Ed. Ed's been in Belize. He did mission work in Belize. He knows exactly. He really understands like what we're trying to do down there and the importance of it. They're good people. Matter of fact, no insult intended. They're really good people. They're really good people. They all love God, and it's just like in their heart. Some of them are religious, some are not religious, but they're really strong faith in God, and they are hardworking people. They're honest, decent people. And the world has marginalized them to the point of like, we hope you die. And I'm not exaggerating. The world has tried to commit genocide on the Mayan people, literally. I won't go into it because you'll see the angry, ugly side of me if I go down that road. And I want to go there. Lydia, her dad was a friend of mine. Didn't know her mom much. Her mother left the family, went to the city, and got working on the streets. Eventually, when Lydia became a teenager, she left the village, went with her mom, and today Lydia is now a married woman with 3 children who lives in Ranchito. Last slide, please.
That's the last one I have.
Oh, okay. What about Arnold?
That's all I had.
Oh, okay, well then, there's one more person I was going to talk about, but I guess that's it. I fell in love with the people. Mother Teresa said, if you want to know God's love, look at the smile of a child. She conveyed God's love to me and what I needed to do with it, because love is not a noun, it's a verb. Love is an action that you take. And I hope that after Ken and Tammy speak that you might be moved to want to support the work in there. Thank you.